My grandparents adopted me and my sister when I was about 5 or 6, and at the time they didn't go to church. Someone had invited them to church. This was a couple years later, and they decided to go on the invite. And at that time, they accepted Jesus Christ as their Savior, both of them. The next week, they brought me and my sister, and they dove into church like full force. Me and my sister would always be going to Bible school and Sunday school and Awanas on Wednesday. It was a lot, like right from the get-go. So during that time, I learned about Jesus. Probably around 8 or 9, I accepted Jesus as my Savior. As I got a little older, at the time, I felt like it was too much for me. You know, I'm away from my friends, hanging out, and so I got to be a little rebellious. So my grandparents got together with the church, and they found a program. It was in Arcata, Louisiana. They sent me there for a year. Very strict Bible-based program. During that year, I learned a lot of things in all aspects of life, really. But I got really close with Jesus. So I was constantly studying my Bible, memorizing verses, just walking with him throughout that time. By the time I graduated at 14, I had a very amazing sense of peace. I've never experienced that much peace since then, but very close. It was hard to even put into words. Like, I didn't want for anything, I didn't need anything. I was just happy, like real happy, full of peace. So whenever I got back into, life and the real world, a few months had passed by. I started hanging out with old friends, and then, gradually got away from that. Even though it was incorporated in me and, I knew of Jesus and my relationship was still pure and real, you know what I mean? Life just kind of pulled me in and out. About 12 years ago, I made a real big mistake and I had to pay the consequences. I was living life kind of reckless, but God gave me like this huge timeout. I remember at the time, like, just going 100 miles an hour to a dead end with no brakes, and I couldn't even push the brakes. God pulled me out of that situation, put me in a timeout, and he gave me a new start. At that time, I started over from nothing, with no money, one outfit, nothing. I decided to go to Fresh Start Ministries, went there for a year, completed the course, and started slowly rebuilding my life. And it's been pretty amazing. And I've had very difficult trials, even though I was doing the right thing and I was, trying to do what I was supposed to do, but I still had like a lot of trials to deal with. When I started over and I had nothing, I remember walking down Edgewater, just looking for a new job. I had a glimpse of that peace again. You know what I mean? I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I knew everything was going to be fine. Just walking it out, trying to do the next right thing. And that's how simple it is, just to do the next right thing. God just started opening up doors. Things just started working out the way they were supposed to. I still had to show up every day and put the work in, and I did, but it was just amazing to watch it. God put all the pieces together the way they were supposed to. Up until 3 years ago, I lost my oldest son. He had bit his tongue, and then it wouldn't stop bleeding for like a couple days. Went to the emergency room, and he had like one white blood cell left. So they diagnosed him with cancer. That lasted for about a month and a half, and then God took him home. So that was hard to deal with, very hard. I still deal with that. Even in that difficult time, I don't think I could have made it through without God, and my foundation and my beliefs in him. It's amazing when I look back on life to see how the pieces were put together. Like, even if I would have tried my hardest in a lot of areas, there's no way I could have done it, just right, the way he's done it for me. But that setback 10 years ago was the best thing that could have happened to me, because I would not be here where I'm at today if it wasn't for that. And even during that time out, he was there, like in just a numerous amount of ways. I always used to think, even in my darkest hour, you are there, because he would show up in just amazing ways. He still does. At the lowest point in my life, he was there. Jesus found me at a young age, and he gave me a peace that I couldn't even explain, even to this day. My actions and decisions caused me to go out of the right path, but he was always there with me until he got my attention fully and realigned my steps to wholeheartedly follow him, and here I am today.